Hey everybody, Momza here. Sorry. Trying to get away from that. I'm very attached to that nickname. It was one my son gave me when I was part of the gaming community, being a tournament organizer. So when I do these kinds of things, that's just habit. So anyway, but you can call me Moms if you want, but I prefer KJ. I am new to the bourbon scene. Really started taking it seriously in January 2025 of this year. Um, the first video I did for my YouTube channel was a blind barrels tasting, which I'm going to do again tonight. Um, if you want to check out the first one, leave comments, suggestions. I'm always open for that. You can check it out on my YouTube channel, which is up at the top of the stream overlay here. I am not sponsored by Blind Barrel, so I want to make that abundantly clear as well. It was something that struck my interest. Being a new bourbon drinker, I thought it would be a great learning experience. And so I'm here to do the second one. I can't even believe I've waited this long. I think this came, let's see here. This is release 14. They called it their Prestige. And it was just in time for Father's Day. So I am way late because I should be getting my next one in September, because they release them quarterly. So I'm way behind. So yeah, we're doing their release 14. They called it the Prestige. It says here, due to the magical element of these drams, and there's also a wonderful sense of duality, passion, and sacrifice. So it looks like they've got a second of their smallest batch from a distillery which practices the art of élevage. Our oldest ever straight rye whiskey, a veteran staff distillery. That's awesome. And one of the longest finishes you'll see in a cask type we've ever featured before. Now, for those that aren't familiar with blind barrels, they ship it to you in this really cool box, and they literally are not labeled at all. But the nice part about it is on the back of every bottle, there's a QR code that you can scan, and it'll tell you what you're sampling. So, let's just dive right in. Let me get these all opened up and poured into my Glencairns that I have in front of me. And I figured while I'm doing this, I'll talk a little bit about, I took a, and if you sign up for Blind Barrels, also you get their Blind Barrels Glencairn, which is really cool. But anyway, I figure while I'm doing this, I'll also kind of talk about, I posted some videos on my Facebook and TikTok channel. I took a weekend trip down to Louisville, and it was July 4th weekend. And I kind of created my own bourbon tour, if you will. It was, let me tell you how new I am to this, okay? As I'm like searching for, bourbon experiences on Kentucky, I think it was KentuckyBourbonTrail.com, I think I went to. And it was, that was really kind of neat, because they like laid out the different areas in Kentucky where you can, go on these bourbon tours. So I chose the one that was Louisville, and kind of went and saw what kind of, distilleries were down there. And while there was a few distilleries, like actual distilleries, at least, I have to be fair about this, where there's an actual tour. Like I went and did Michter's, and Pursuit United. They're one of my favorites. And look at this cool glass, Glencairn type glass. It's got a stem to it. And this came as part of my tasting. I didn't actually like do the tour at Pursuit. I just signed up for their tasting. But the neat thing about Michter's is it was actually a tour where they take you back and, go through the history of Michter's, and you see, the vats and the cooling system and everything that they do. Ooh, that one's a strong one. Where, and again, let me backtrack again. I didn't realize that there's a thing in Louisville called Whiskey Row. And my hotel just so happened to be like a block away from it. And that was super cool. I mean, there were so many different tasting rooms. Some of the ones I saw were Buzzard's Roost, Bardstown, which was nice because I do want to get down to Bardstown, Kentucky, because they're actually one of my favorite distilleries and bourbons that I drink. Michter's, oh gosh, who else? Green River, I love Green River as well. There was Whiskey Thief. I saw Angel's Envy. Kentucky Peerless. So if you're a bourbon lover and you want something that's, not very far away. I mean, for me, Louisville's like an hour and a half away. Well, no, closer to 2 hours. My apologies. That's definitely the thing to do, is just go and get you a room in downtown Louisville and, go and visit Whiskey Row. I do recommend, I booked all my tastings in advance. I know there's a couple of places down there that you don't have to book your tastings. Green River, you don't have to. They do it every hour on the hour. And there was another one down there that I overheard some people talking about, but I didn't catch like the name of it. So, but I highly recommend booking the tasting tours in advance. So the way mine went was I drove down Thursday, July 3rd, and I timed it to where my first tasting would be right about the time I was going to get into Louisville. So I went to Whiskey Thief because I've been looking for Whiskey Thief and looking for Whiskey Thief. And that was a really interesting experience because the tastings, they actually pull it right out of the barrel and put it in a little tasting glass for you. And then I figured out why I can't find them. They don't distribute. The only way you can get Whiskey Thief is if you go down to Louisville and visit their tasting room. I'm like, well, now I know why I couldn't find them. And oh, by the way, my shirt's cut off, but it says my spirit animal drinks a lot. I thought that would be appropriate to wear. So yeah, that was really neat that they just pulled right out of the barrels and did the tastings that way. And then on Thursday I did oh gosh, I thought I had it all memorized the way I had my days planned out. I know I did Kentucky Peerless later in the day. I had booked myself 3. I think I did Pursuit United on Thursday as well. Because, yeah, I did. It was Whiskey Thief, went to have lunch, drove over to Pursuit United, because they did not, at the time, although I know it is open now, it was under construction while I was there. Pursuit does have a tasting room now on Whiskey Row in Louisville, but I actually went over to their warehouse and where they do the tastings at. And then I did Kentucky Peerless to end my Thursday. And then Friday, my day started with Bardstown and Michter's, I think, were the only two I had scheduled. And I stopped in Green River's tasting room because I wanted to try their 250th anniversary for the U.S. Army. They came up with a special bourbon for that. I wanted to try it because I hadn't been able to find it in Ohio. And then I went ahead, that's how I found out, hey, you don't have to book ahead of time. We do tastings on the hour every hour. So I ended up doing a tasting there as well. But yeah, so that was and then Saturday, I was supposed to go to Old Forester, but for family emergency, I had to cut my trip short and come back home, so I didn't get to do that one. So yeah. All right. So before I go more into some of my experience at my own bourbon tasting in Louisville, let's I wanted to let these kind of breathe a little bit. Because sometimes I've noticed, like, here's the thing, being new, I really still struggle. And again, I only got into this in January, so I'm only like 8 months in. I still really struggle with like the nose and I mean, there's some things, I can immediately pick up on, but some of the people, they just immediately, I start cherries or raspberries or banana or, so on and so forth. And I'm still really struggling with that, much to my chagrin. It irritates me, I'm not going to lie. But one thing I've noticed being new and being a part of a great community, which I'll talk about them as well, because I love my whiskey community I'm a part of, is sometimes, like when you first open a bottle, like you'll hear people talk about, oh, this one's, really, really good. Go try, bottle X. And it's like, okay, fine. I'll go out, I'll find it, take somebody's recommendation and I'll try it. And I'm like, what were they thinking exactly? And it's just kind of like, well, everybody tastes things differently, right? I mean, some people don't like wheated bourbons at all. Some don't like rye bourbons at all. Some are just straight, whiskey bourbon drinkers. I'm kind of all over the place right now. Although as this has been going on, I've realized I'm starting to kind of like really lean into the rye whiskeys. I feel like I get much more flavor profiles and notes out of that. But okay, let's get into this first one. And I need to decide. Am I going to look them up right away? Or am I going to rank them first and then look them up? We'll rank first and then we'll look them up. Okay. Kind of nutty smelling. Oh, there's a spice there too. No. It's a floral I'm picking up on. I don't know. It's like I get a couple hints of something, like one or two notes, which, I guess I'll take still being new to this. And then it's just like, well, now all I smell is ethanol. But being a new person and learning, I'll pass along some of the tricks that I've learned along the way in the 8 months I've been doing this. I've been told if you reset your smelling senses by, sniffing your arm or maybe a shirt or something, that sometimes, you can pick up on other things. And I got to remember that when I'm recording. And one of the other things I realized, or I didn't know, but learned during my time down in Louisville, is some people can smell better out of either, like, right or left side. Where some people can, get everything right away. So I found that rather interesting, that I learned that at one of the tastings. All right, I do see some fingers on this, so let's give it a very nutty tasting. That's the only way I can describe it. It tastes like a nut. Maybe like a walnut. Let's see again. The mouth feel just from the first taste seems rather light. Kind of getting a little hint of peach now. I'm surprised that the mouth feels so thin, for lack of a better word, because this has got some great fingers on it. But the finish is really short, and it's just very thin overall. Yeah, it finishes shorter than I would like it to, for sure. And again, I'm just really kind of shocked with the fingers on this, that it doesn't have more of a, oh well, maybe it doesn't matter, right? I mean, how do I know? Again, I'm still new to this. You guys are kind of learning here with me. I'm going to try and open it up next with, here, see, here's another thing being new, is this mixing water. I was told about this from a guy down in at Party Source, and it has to be specific limestone filtered mixing water. Don't use your normal tap water. I've been told. I haven't tried it with normal tap water. I'm just taking recommendations, but I have noticed on some bourbons where I lack picking up maybe some certain notes, that if I like hit it with just a drop. That's probably more than a drop. That sometimes it changes the flavor of it. So let's see. Because yeah, it just, I can't get away from that. I can't get away from that nut type feeling. Or taste. It's not a feeling. Now I'm getting just maybe a hint of like a baking spice. I'm not really picking up very many flavor profiles other than that, and it's still just finishing very thin. So Let me marinate on that one for a little bit. I mean, it just, I don't know. I mean, I've still got three others to try. Who knows? The first one may end up being my favorite one. So, yeah, let's see. Which one do I want to talk about first? Because there was a couple of the tastings that I enjoyed more than others. Well, no. That's a false statement. I enjoyed every tasting that I did. Pursuits was incredible. But, at this point in time, being, a little over halfway into the year and really just starting to take it seriously in January, I'd have to say my top distilleries to date are New Riff. And thankfully, they're close to me down in Newport, Kentucky, even though I'm in northern suburbs of Cincinnati. Bardstown, Penelope, Pursuit United. Trying to think of like ones that I know I have more than one bottle in my now. I'm up to 52 bottles of bourbon. I just started collecting in January. Again, I told you I'm an infant at this. Gosh, is there another one besides those four right now? I think Jefferson's. I've had a few different Jeffersons. So yeah, I'd have to say Jefferson's because I do have a few of their bottles. And I'm gonna put Michter's in there. And even though I've only owned one bottle of Michter's, when I went and did their tour and tasting, I need to get more Michter's. That's all I'm gonna say. And Green River also, honestly. So, I'm trying to come up with my top 10 for 2025. So I think that was 7 there. But back to my Louisville trip, what was really cool was Bardstown because they and I kept my little discs that were on top of the Glencairns. But what was even more interesting than that was each one of them had, something else to sample. For example, one had a little piece of apricot, dried apricot. Another one had some candied ginger. Another one had pop rocks. Another one had, dry cocoa nibs. And they were all paired with, we did their Kentucky straight rye, which was aged 6 years. The mash bill was 95% rye, 5% malted barley. We did their Kentucky straight wheated bourbon, which I had never tried. Most of Bardstown stuff I've had out of their Origin series so far. So just try their, anything outside of the Origin series, I guess. So is there a Kentucky straight wheated bourbon that was aged 6 years? The mash bill, corn 53%, wheat 39%, malted barley 8%. Proof 106 on that. Their rye was 96 proof. Then we also did their, where am I at? That was their wheated. We did their straight bourbon whiskey at 96 proof, aged again at 6 years, mash bill 60% corn, 36% rye, 4% malted barley, and then finally their bottle and bond, which I actually have a bottle of, so I knew I liked. bottom bond has to be at 100 proof, or it doesn't qualify, and it has to have this specific mash bill of 68% corn, 20% wheated, and 12% malted barley, and it was aged for 6 years as well. But it was neat because depending on which one we were trying, and I wish I could remember the order, but I actually think I have them in order now that I look. So like the Kentucky straight bourbon, they had the dried apricot with, and he's like, take a sip. Greg was awesome down at Bardstown Tasting Room. He's like, take a sip, let it burn your mouth, let your nerves come alive and everything. And it's like, it's like, I've been doing that. Didn't know that was the right thing to do, but yay me. And we kind of let that sit for a little bit, let the tingling go away. And then he's like, take another sip and tell me what you taste. Well, I was able to pick up on, I thought were peaches. Definitely caught some of the caramel or caramel, however people say it. I call it caramel. You say potato, I say potato. And then definitely some cinnamon and vanilla. And other people, in the tasting picked up different things. He's like, okay, now chew on the little piece of dried apricot, swallow it and everything. He's like, and then take another taste of it and tell me what you taste. And like, these were all like face down, like all the tasting notes and everything. He didn't want us to see it. We were just saying, where it was, the mash bill and how many years. And then I tasted it again and I'm like, wait, it actually wasn't peaches I was tasting. I believe I'm tasting apricot, but then I'm like, well, am I tasting the apricot because I just ate dried apricot? What is it? So I took a drink of water, tried it again, and it was still very apricot instead of peach to me. So then we turned them over and we read, and the tasting notes were a blend of apricot, orange blossoms, and mint. Rests on caramel, nutmeg, and rich oak. Now, I didn't pick up on the orange blossoms. I didn't pick up on the mint. And I didn't get the caramel I got it on the nose and then when I was tasting it, but they're saying that on the palate it's cinnamon and vanilla that leads to a lasting finish, and I agreed with that. Then the next one we did was I want to say it was their wheated, and that one had the piece of candied ginger with it. Now look, I love to have ginger to clean my palate when I'm having sushi, but that candied ginger was a little rough. Just not gonna lie. But again, taste it, say what you think it is. On that one, on the wheat, I definitely got the hint of wheat notes in it. The apricot was still there, and maybe it was because, I still had like some lingering apricot from the candied apricot that I ate. And then I just really got a lot of spice after that. So then, we flip it over, or we eat the ginger. Then I ended up getting, I'm trying to rack my brain because this has been over a month ago and I don't have the greatest memory as it is. I picked up a little bit of like a lemony taste to it, maybe like a lemon zest or lemon meringue. And then the creme brulee came. So he's like, okay, flip it over, look at your tasting notes, and you see apricot, lemon zest, leather, creme brulee. On the palate is oak, and pastry, and then the lightly spiced thing. So it's like, I was just fascinated how many times that we, tried it without, and then took a little bit of sample. But we'll get to the second tasting. I just want to tell you which one like literally blew my mind was the one with Pop Rocks. and we did their rye with it, which is not the bottle and bond rye, I don't think. No, that was just their straight rye. And it was so fun. And everybody had different flavors of Pop Rocks. I think mine was like blue icy or something like that. But it was fun because I haven't had Pop Rocks since I was a kid. And when I tasted it before the Pop Rocks, really the only thing that I could get was the mint. I always managed to pick up on mint with rye, depending on who's making the rye. Like Pursuit United, when I did their tasting, they had a triple mash bill rye, and as soon as I smelled it and as soon as I tasted it, there was all that lovely spearmint that goes along with it. So I picked up on that when I smelled it. I didn't really pick up on much of anything else. Got the mint taste on my palate, and a little bit of cinnamon. And then the mouthfeel was, if I remember right, it was smooth. Is all I can remember. So then you eat the Pop Rocks, and then it's like all of a sudden I picked up on cherry. And it's like, well, why didn't I get that the first time? So yeah, I mean, these tastings, that were paired with everything that they paired it with, I didn't, like, I've done like beer pairings and chocolate and beer pairings, and it's just like you don't think it's going to work, and it just never ceases to amaze me how much it like can really change a flavor profile. All right, Blind Barrels, let's see what we got on this one. What do I need to do? I need to start like taking notes so I can remember what I said I smelled. Actually, you see me doing that, and for whatever reason, sometimes I actually can pick up stuff better by just wafting it at myself. Oak. Definitely a spice. And it's always just a spice. I don't know enough. Need to go and buy every spice there is at Kroger. Yeah, that's about all I'm getting, is some kind of a baking spice and an oaky smell to it. Let's see. Okay, that one finishes a little hotter, a little spicier. Almost like a black pepper. A little bit of cinnamon in there. Oh, and the other thing I didn't realize that I did until I went and did the tasting at Bardstown was to hold a little bit of it and start with the sip from the front to the center of your tongue to the back of your palate, because you'll pick up, different things based on taste buds. It's like, huh. It's like, here I am, a newbie, and I've been doing that for a few months now. I'm kind of getting an orange peel now. Sometimes the smells come to me more after I've had the first taste. I know that seems weird. I actually got a little honey on that one. So if you're newbie like me, just passing along some of the secrets that I've been picking up along the way. One of the other things is to smell with your mouth slightly open. Got some leather that time. I'm just gonna have to say it's just baking spice. Because I couldn't tell you exactly what spice it is. It's not, maybe it's clove I'm looking for. I've added some of the lime water, so stirring it up. Using my Bardstown Glencairn that I bought. That was the one thing that I thought was cool too. And this has got another really short, light mouthfeel to it. Not when I say that, it's because I'm not picking up on like a buttery, creamy, lingering mouthfeel. Like after I take the sip, it's kind of gone instead of just lingering there. Yeah, it's clove. Well, I really wish that. I mean, it's pretty good. I'd have to say. Right now, I'm gonna move these in a way. Move that one back. I'm gonna stick this one up front. I know it's only 2 out of 3, but so far 2's been my favorite. But one of the things I wanted to mention also was what I thought was really cool is, how I was saying that, I bought my wine tasting and Pursuit gave me this really cool stemmed Glencairn with the tasting. Kentucky Peerless and Whiskey Thief did as well. Now they're not, the full-size Glencairns, like I'm using here, like this Bardstown one that I'm holding. They were smaller, but still, I mean, it was nice to have, a little something to take back, with you and whatnot. The other ones, out of the other ones that I did, the Green River, Michter's, Bardstown. Yeah, because I only did 6. They didn't give you Glencairns with their tastings, but doesn't mean I didn't leave with Glencairns from Bardstown, Green River, Michter's, and Buzzard's Roost, because I did go into Buzzard's Roost to do a little. Well, it wasn't even a tasting. I just sat at the bar and asked the bartender. I was like, "Hey, what's your favorite, flight?" And she's like, "Oh, it's Birds of a Feather." That was fun too, because I think the manager of the place came over and started talking to me, and she's like, "Oh, you need to try this," and got out little like the communion, remember the communion, little plastic communion cups we used to drink the grape juice out of, poured me some of those. But the big thing for going down there was I was on the hunt for stuff that I couldn't find here in Ohio, and or B, that was just an exclusive for their tasting rooms. And I did manage to walk away with something like that I did walk away with the Green River U.S. Army 250th anniversary bottle. I walked away with Buzzard's Roost. They had a Char 1 bourbon that was just exclusive to their tasting room. When I was at Whiskey Thief, I got to bottle my own. That was really cool. And I mean, I can't find it here in Ohio, so there's no way I'm leaving there without it. But yeah, you get to stick the little copper pipe in and put it in your bottle and everything. That was really cool. So I ended up with a bottle from Whiskey Thief, and who else did I get a bottle from? I thought I came home with more than 4. Whiskey Thief. Oh, Bardstown. they had two exclusives in their tasting room there, that I ended up walking away with one of theirs out of their Origin series. Um, and some of the stuff that I can't remember, I'll kind of drop in the comments for you, which ones they were. Really, I only walked away with 5. Buzzard's Roost, Whiskey Thief. Oh no. How could I forget? I walked away with a bottle of triple mash rye from Pursuit. So yeah, I think I walked away with like, I don't know, 6 6 bottles and 4 or 5 Glencairns. Well, probably more than that. I only actually paid for 4 of them. All right, let's see what you got for number 3. Ooh, I like that nose. I'm getting like a butterscotch or creme brulee. Oh man. Maybe even some like raspberry or cherries. Okay, this is the best nose so far. I'm picking up a lot. I mean, for me to name 3 or 4, that's good for me. All right, let's see what you taste like. Oh man. Definitely mint. That's the first one. A little bit of toffee. Man, that mint is really strong. And I love it. This has got to be a rye. Has to be a rye. I'm wondering though, I smell like red fruits. But I'm just not tasting it. Maybe a little bit of vanilla. Yeah, I think a little bit of vanilla. And the fingers on this are good. And there's that lingering taste. It's not light on the finish. I wouldn't necessarily call it creamy, but it's like I want to chew it because I can still taste it. Oh, this is really good. You know, it's almost like a licorice to me. I don't know. That sounds weird, doesn't it? I'm really going to be interested to see what this little bit of water does to it. Okay, so we know this one now is going to become my favorite one. I'm still going to leave 2 up there. So, yeah, what else about my trip to Louisville? I had, to go down, I went down by myself. I don't have a lot of bourbon loving friends yet. I had a good time. As I mentioned earlier in at the beginning of the video, um, I had to cut it short due to family emergency, and I'm really trying not to like let it stain my first experience, bourbon experience. But the reason why I had to cut it short was I got a call Saturday morning from my brother that our mother had unexpectedly passed away in the middle of the night, and here I am all the way, 2 hours away in Louisville. Um, so not the way I was expecting my trip to end. And I know she would want me to not let that, completely ruin something I was excited about, because I talked to her a couple of weeks earlier about what I was doing. And you know, ironic enough, I had my old Forester tour at like noon or 12:30 or something like that, and I was gonna get back home and then stop by my mom and brother's house, and I stopped by my mom and brother's house, but not for the reason I wanted. And that's all I'm gonna say, because that's kind of the way my Louisville trip ended. So I can't say it was a completely bad time. It wasn't. I just wish the outcome and the ending of it was better than what it turned out to be. Definitely vanilla. I'm actually, now that I put the water in, I actually got a little hint of even creme brulee on the nose. That's really good. Okay, you are officially in first place. But I would highly, highly suggest doing a bourbon tour. Um, Whether you create your own, like I did, or you actually like go and like register for one that's, and see, I don't know if I would actually, and this is just me personally, you guys do whatever you want. I don't know if I would like do like a group tour, because the thing that I liked the most about what I did was, outside of the tasting itself, I was free to go and do whatever I wanted to afterwards. It's like after Bardstown kicked off my Thursday, and I didn't have anything till Michter's at like 4 or 5 or something like that. So that completely gave me the opportunity to be like, hey, look, it's, 1:45. Let me go do the Green River one and pop in there. Or, just wander around Whiskey Row, wherever I wanted to wander around to. But, everybody's got their own thing. I fully plan on going back down and doing another, bourbon tour of my own. It's just one of these things where, do I want to go and hit the ones that I didn't get to? With it being 4th of July, there are just some that didn't have a whole lot of availability to, get on one of the tastings or tours. Like I wanted to do Buzzard's Roost. They didn't have anything available. I wanted to do Angel's Envy. They didn't have anything available. So there's, I didn't get around to even, I think I did good hitting, 7 total? But there's probably like, I don't know, half a dozen more that I missed out on. But I think if I do something else again where that's concerned, I think I'm specifically going to go down to Bardstown, because I specifically want to tour their distillery. And I've heard their restaurant is fantastic as well. Ooh, okay. This one's going to be a strong one. When the nose is kind of like pow, you know it's coming. Dark chocolate. I know it's. I am not like any other bourbon person. Well, I don't know. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not the only one that tries to whiff it. Leather. Right now, I'm just getting a little bit of dark chocolate, maybe tobacco, but some leather. Okay, no, that one was just straight ethanol. All right, let's see what it tastes like. Definitely dark chocolate, and definitely tobacco, leather on the taste, and it finishes hotter. Hotter than the third one. Um, and this is another one that's got that lingering taste. Again, it's not one that I would say has got that creamy mouth feel. Because it finishes a little hot, it's I don't know if I would say it's smooth. Um, but it's not biting you either. Whatever that taste is, I'm loving it. I'm sure it's something more than, you know, my immature palate picking up on dark chocolate and maybe some tobacco and leather. And try opening this one up too. And while we're waiting on that, again, I am not sponsored in any way, shape, or form by Blind Barrels or Hang Like Gummies, but I got to tell you about these. So, the whiskey community I'm a part of is Whiskey Weather, which is the Glencairn that I'm using for the final tasting of Blind Barrels. And Whiskey Weather, aka Brandon Spinner, he advertises these Hang Like Gummies. And I hadn't really completely bought into it until he was telling the story of a couple of his production guys, Ajay and Jack, had all got together, and probably a couple other people, and had done like, a sample share and whatnot. And everybody in the group took the Hang Light gummies except Ajay. Who do you think woke up with a hangover the next day? Ajay. Because Ajay didn't take these. Now, I've watched a few streams since that one. Ajay takes these now. And I'm going to tell you, I wasn't sure what to believe. It's like, screw it. Use code Brandon10. You get a discount. I got a couple bags of them. Full disclosure, I'm going to tell you, when I first opened them up, it smelled like weed, CBD. But they're all natural. I mean, just some of the ingredients are, I can't even pronounce these names. All I'm going to say is I know Brandon, he would not advertise or sell anybody anything that was illegal or would cause you to fail a drug test. But I highly recommend them. Not only are they good, you can take, before, during, or after. I usually take them after I've done some bourbon drinking. There's been some nights. Friday night, I'm sitting around. It's like, oh, let me have a couple. And I don't pay attention to like the proof that I'm drinking. So, and I get up off my couch. It's like, whoa. And it's like, let me grab my Hang Light gummies. But they're also good for liver protection, better recovery, fights alcohol damage. Again, I'm not sponsored by Hang Light gummies, but I swear by them. I've been taking them. So, yeah. And again, I'm not sponsored by Blind Barrels either. I just want to, be sure I show them some love because I'm doing a Blind Barrels tasting. And I think what they do is really cool. So there's that pitch. All right, let's see. Oh, big tobacco now. Interesting. The limestone water seemed like it heated it up even a little bit. All right, so nothing has overtaken 3. But I'm not sure if I like that one second. The first one is coming in last. Just saying. Yeah, no. I think this one's still got better flavor to it. Yeah. Okay, so we got first, second, third, and fourth. All right, so let me grab my phone because it's got the QR code scanner on it. Let me get a drink of water. But yeah, I mean, you do you. If you want to, come out with design for, or design your own bourbon tour, then go ahead. Or do one that's your own group type thing. I mean, you can like invite groups and whatnot too. All right, so let's go with the 4th place finisher. Which was sample A, because I didn't take them out of order. I forget. What do you think the age statement is? I'm going to say it's like 4 years. I'm going to say it's 80 proof. I'm going to say it's finished. Sorry, you're not getting I want to skip a quiz. Okay, so go to June sample reveals. All right. So sample A is, yes, I'm 21, is State and Republic Weeded Texas Straight Bourbon Whiskey out of San Antonio, Texas. Distillery is Ranger Creek Brewing and Distilling. 96 proof, 3 years old, 69 corn, 21 wheat, and 10% malted barley. They're saying the nose is dried mint, toasted grains, spicy caramel, graham cracker, and ripe grapefruit. The taste is balanced on the palate with a soft heat, rounded out with notes of pecan pie. See, I did say I was picking up a nut. I called it a walnut. Baklava. Oh, here, look. See, I wasn't too far off. Walnut skins, mild gingerbread, rose water, and sugar smacks. I didn't get that. And then they're saying the finish is a solid finish, lingers with notes of green apples, mesa corn tortillas, and a hint of vanilla, a real crowd pleaser. I don't think the finish is that solid. I'm just going to be honest. I mean, you guys heard me talk about that. So that was the 4th place finisher. So then B is the 3rd place finisher. That is Hugh Hammer Straight Bourbon Whiskey finished in rum barrels from West Fork Distillery in Westfield, Indiana. Proof is 103, 7 years old. 2 of those years in Cruzon rum barrels. Mash bill 99% corn and 1% malted barley. They're saying the aroma is daiquiri vibes with notes of sweet molasses, tropical fruits, sea spray, and a touch of light vegetable rum. Taste light and approachable. Agree. Corn sweetness up front, layered with sweet lime, cane sugar, ripe pear, baking spices, candied orange, subtle persimmon pudding, and blackstrap rum. Sweet and smooth finish that draws you back in for another sip with oak presence, rich caramel, and a tingle of candied pineapple. I didn't pick up half of that. Then sample D came in 2nd. This is Harbinger Straight Bourbon Whiskey Cask Strength Barrel Select, the smallest batch number 2 from Iron Root Republic Distilling in Denison, Texas. Proof 130. Figured it was kind of up there. At 4 years old. 80% yellow corn, 20% malted wheat. A composition of 5 different types of wheat, including the 3 ancient Pharaoh varietals. Pops with notes of blackberry crumble, peanut shells, toasted oak, sweet teriyaki, and funky mint. Okay. Bold and spicy, pecan pie, dried fruits, corn pops, chestnuts, and spicy cinnamon apples. And the finish is long and rounded. Floral notes, candied nuts, smoky vanilla, and juicy port. See, just someday, when I grow up as a bourbon enthusiast, I want to be able to pick up even a quarter of what I just read. And then last but not least, my favorite one was sample C is Cask Strength Straight Rye. Hey, look at me. I got it right. It was a rye. Hey. From the Prideful Goat is the distillery in Houston, Texas. 117 proof, 9 years old, 95% rye, 5% malted barley. Yeah, a classic rye nose, turned all the way up with rich mint, thyme, black licorice. Look at me. I can't even believe that. Coffee beans and spicy dark chocolate. The taste, incredible rich mouthfeel. I don't know if I'd go with rich, but the mouthfeel was good. It was smooth, at least. Herbs and peppermint continue. Plum notes, raw walnuts, Meyer lemon, and pink peppercorn. Like, honestly, oh yeah, it's lemon. Oh no, you mean it's Meyer lemon, right? And then finally, the finish is balanced spice with a slight black pepper tingle on the front, and then hoppy with notes of plum skins, clove, and shredded coconut. So, yeah, there you have it. That was Blind Barrels 14. Pretty sure it was number 14. Yep, the Prestige. So it was great. I mean, I didn't hate any of them. It's just, let's just say out of the four that I tried, I would probably, if I was going to buy a bottle, I would definitely buy the bottle of the cash strength rye from the Prideful Goat, and the Harbinger Straight Bourbon cash strength barrel whiskey. Are the it was sample D. Those would be the two out of the four that I would buy. And that's the other nice thing about Blind Barrels is, you get it at a member price. Like, for example, my favorite one is regularly $105. But because you're a member of Blind Barrels, it's $89.99. And you can add it to the cart. You can buy it straight after you sample them or whatever. So that's the other thing I like about Blind Barrels. I'm looking forward to getting my next one. It should be coming next month in September. Hopefully it doesn't take me 3 months to get around to it, but obviously I've had a lot of things going on personally in my life. Again, I am KJ and or Mamza, whichever you prefer. I'm going to upload this to my YouTube channel, which is in the top right of your screen. And right now I can't upload anything to my Twitch channel. Right now I'm just recording these, seeing how they go. I listen to them, a couple days later. My Twitch channel is Mamza15. I may eventually start going live with these kinds of tastings or reviews. It depends. I mean, this is gone. Probably by the time I wrap this up, this is going to be about an hour and 10 minutes. And having been a former tournament organizer and running tournaments and streaming tournaments, this is short for me. I mean, those tournaments usually went, 4 hours long for a weekly or something like that. So we'll see. I've still got to investigate Twitch's terms of service where that's concerned. I have talked to some people that are, regular Twitch streamers, and I guess as long as it's not an abuse of alcohol, I'm not visibly intoxicated on stream, I can live stream. I just, the Blind Barrel ones are ones that I have fun doing. I just like to chit chat as we're doing them and then do the reveals at the end. Whereas if I decided to do like a live stream and, maybe continue some of the learnings that I've had along the way with, being new to the bourbon community, I might do that and do a live stream and, pick, a couple of bottles that I have here at home out of the 52 that I have available. But, the thing is too, for me, being a part of the Whiskey Weather community, is really helping me. Brandon's great, is informative. He has had some banger barrel picks himself. I just picked up a 6-year bourbon from New Riff. That was his barrel pick. He did a Circle City pick. I believe they're over in Indiana. That was a double oaked. Is perfecto. What else did I get? I think he did an Elijah Craig barrel pick. I picked up that one. That one was fantastic too. And he just recently did, and it's been a long time, is my understanding, since Augusta, aka Buckner's, or Augusta Buckner's, however you want to say it, is back to and releasing a 13-year bourbon. He did 2 barrel selects there, and I was lucky enough to get my hands on one. It's to date, it is the most expensive bottle that I have bought. So far, I don't think I've paid over $100 for any of the bourbons that are in my collection right now. But when you're talking Augusta, aka Buckner's, aka it's a 13-year, that one's going to be a little more pricey. But Brandon was very fair in his pricing. And so, yeah, I mean, check out Whiskey Weather. They are on YouTube as well. They are on Twitter. and they also have a Facebook page. But I've learned a lot in my short amount of time being in the bourbon community, and a lot of it has to do with the people that I've met in that group, and watching Brandon's streams. So it's just something I'd like to get into myself, and I thought maybe because I'm new, I can't be the only one that's new to the bourbon community, and maybe we can teach and each other and learn along the way as we go. Again, I'm open to comments, criticisms, suggestions. I really don't know what this is going to be, or if there's going to be any kind of a brand to it or whatever. But if you do check this out on my YouTube channel, I really appreciate it. Please hit the like and subscribe button so that I know that you watched the video, and we'll see if maybe I can continue to put out some decent content. So thank you all. Really appreciate it. Have a great night.